On this episode of Geek Dad Live, we're going to talk about Tron 3, the release of Hamilton on Disney Plus, and Ghostbusters returning to the top of the charts, and more. Everybody, and welcome to Geek Dad Live, where Ralph and I recap the week in Geek. How are you doing, Ralph?
Doing good. Doing good. 2 weeks this time, but
that's
it was
true.
Kind of a light. It was a light 2 weeks.
Yeah, we took the fourth holiday off. Or really, I did. You were ready to go last week, but I didn't.
I mean, I could have recorded. I just had nothing to talk about.
Fair enough. But excited to be here. We've got some people already hanging on the chat. Lolo Pap, who I think has been there the past few. Hello, Lolo. We also got NES Addict. I'm suddenly all about Ghostbusters. How are you not always?
How'd you find this channel? Like, how'd you find this channel without being a
There's
like
Ghostbusters? I know it's been Ghostbusters heavy. I get it, but there's other things that could bring people
fine.
In.
Dude, my Patreon is Star Wars heavy, and I feel bad because of it. But I mean, like the last 5 years has been like nonstop Star Wars.
It's pretty much since Disney took them. But how's it been in your world?
Same. Today I watched people go into downtown Disney.
Whew, I saw some of your posts.
It makes my stomach sink.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I work there. I work at Disneyland. Luckily, it's just downtown Disney open, but that's part of our area that I cover.
Yeah.
And so no calls yet, but just seeing the people there, it just like makes my stomach just sink. Like literally my stomach like was in knots. It's too scary out there.
It is no joke. And we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's stressful right now is it's blowing up everywhere, but we're still like going like trying, and there's just it's a weird time for sure. Lolo, I gave you a shout out at the beginning of the show, but I'll give you another one. Lolo Pap. There you go. Shout out to Lolo Pap. So excited to be here to talk tonight about the past 2 weeks in Geek. Mainly because, all geeks have like their things, right? Their things that they love that are geeky above all other geeky things that they love.
Yeah.
And for you and I, certain things overlap. I love Tron. Absolutely love Tron.
I love Tron. Yeah.
But I think I would acquiesce to you. Like if there was a one Tron thing and it was you and I standing there, I would get out of the way for you to have that Tron thing. 'Cause I think you do love it more than I do. And there was just some big news this past week on the possibility of a sequel, I guess a threequel to Tron Legacy.
Yeah, and I thought you were gonna make something happen. Okay, so it makes sense because right now in Florida, they're building the Tron coaster, the light cycle coaster, and there's one in one of the other parks. I'm not sure which one. Shanghai, I think maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe Shanghai. Yeah.
So it's like you have to have that fresh in people's mind if you want to have it here in the States. So I mean, you got to keep the franchise going if you want to build a major attraction that you want. You're spending a lot of money towards this attraction. You need people to come in the door for it to pay off. So it makes sense that they'll do a new Tron movie. There's a couple of interesting notes. Is that the first article that I read online said that Disney is hopefully going to be getting Joseph Kosinski to return as the director. He did Tron Legacy, and he did Top Gun 2, which is, I don't know when that's coming out. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did Top Gun 2. So since Tron, a little bit on Joseph Kosinski. First of all, I love Tron Legacy. I thought for a sequel that's something like 24 years later.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. He had a unique vision. He went on to do a movie called Oblivion with Tom Cruise, and then now he's doing the Top Gun sequel. And then they said they're hoping to get him and Daft Punk to return the score, to do the score. I love the score to Tron Legacy. I thought Daft Punk did an amazing job top to bottom. It's probably one of my favorite scores in the last, well, I guess now 10 years. It's been, I think it's been 9 years since the last one. Something that they're not set in stone. And I find it like some people reporting that Daft Punk was returning, but I've never heard of a movie, unless it's a musical. I've never heard of a movie that locks down a composer before a director's involved. That usually doesn't happen. So I'm going with the first article I read, which said that they're hoping to get Joseph Kosinski and Daft Punk. I'm kind of iffy on that.
Really?
So the first movie came out in 1982, and it was directed by a man named Steven Lisberger.
And
Steven Lisberger
episode, it was really interesting getting a check-in with him.
Yeah. He had a vision. He had a vision, and he set out to make this vision, and they made a movie. They made Tron, and it's a very unique film. Didn't do well at the box office, but had this kind of quiet cult following. Luckily, it came out around the time of VHS coming up. So there's kind of people knew of Tron, which was cool. I loved Tron as a kid. I didn't understand it. And even when I watch it today, even watching it, I don't know how many times I've seen it, but I still pick up on things where I'm like, oh, that's way ahead of its time. But what I liked about that movie, it's definitely Steve Lisberger's vision.
Yes. Yeah.
Cut to, was it 24 years or was it 2011? No, 2009?
I think it was 09.
Jeez Louise. So, you have Joseph Kosinski. This is his first film. He's doing Tron, but he takes that idea and creates his own vision, his own version of it. He uses a lot of the same things. Like I had this recognizer toy, which looked like the old designs, but they're, tweaked and changed. And the world looked different. It had a whole different vibe inside when you're in the world of Tron. It's been 10 years. I would like to see someone else's vision of what they think Tron is like. So if Joseph Kosinski comes on to produce, that's cool. But I'd like to see a different director. There's one of my friends who's been following me since way back when I've been podcasting in 2006. He said he'd like to see Denis Villeneuve direct it. And I'm like, oh, he would be awesome. I don't know if he'd be into doing a Tron movie. But he's definitely a director with a very specific vision. I think Blade Runner 2049 was amazing. And it took that aesthetic and kind of pushed it a little further. He kind of made it his own with the same sort of skeleton. So I'd like to see him do that. But I'm fine with Joseph because listen, any Tron's going to be awesome for me. I'm going to be excited to see it. It's going to be cool. I noticed that they said something about Jared Leto being attached to it, which I think is interesting. I mean, I'm fine with him. Whatever. I don't know. Depending on what the story is, I'd like to see. I can't think of his name. Garrett Hedlund, who played Sam Flynn in the last movie. I'd like to see him make a return. And I guess they're saying that it's a sequel. It's not a reboot. So I'd like to see him come back. Jeff Bridges is #1 Tron fan of all time. Jeff Bridges loves Tron. And he was so excited to be in Tron Legacy. And I'd love to see him back in the third one. Flynn lives. He played 2 characters in that movie. He played himself and Clue, just like he did in 82. So it would be cool. I mean, I feel like Disney won't be able to do it without him, getting in there somehow.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see him return. Alan Bradley, who AKA Tron, by Bruce Boxleitner. That character was in Tron Legacy. I say this third movie, it's about time we get a movie about Tron. The last two movies aren't even about Tron.
I know. If there's one, to me, if there was one disappointment of Tron Legacy, is that Tron was like rehacked into Rensler, and he didn't. It was cool how he remembered who he was, and then kind of sacrificed himself to help Sam. But and then as he was going in the water, he turned from the red to back to the Tron colorway. So I think that was really cool. So I agree. I would love to have Tron actually, be the focus. I think that's a great point.
In Tron Legacy, they set up Dillinger's son. So in the first movie, there was the bad guy was Dillinger, played by David Warner. In Tron Legacy, it was Cillian Murphy, played Dillinger's son. So I feel like I would like to see that kind of expand.
Because he was really only in it for like a minute. He wasn't really there that much.
He was definitely there to set up some sort of sequel. But maybe, we don't know much about Alan Bradley's past. So it'd be nice if Jared Leto is brought into the mix. If he was like a offspring of Cindy Morgan's character and Alan Bradley. So he could be there. He could be brought into the story, not take over a different character.
Yeah.
But be a character that we haven't seen yet. And I could see him being, the son of Alan Bradley. He'd be the right age. Yeah. Possibly he's going in to get Tron, because Tron needs to be explored.
Absolutely.
The character Tron.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite characters. He's like when it comes to Star Wars, there's a lot of people who are big fans of like the Empire and stuff. I've always been a fan of the Rebels. I always like good guys. My favorite character in Star Wars is Luke Skywalker, who's like the Mr. Goody Two Shoes of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tron is the same way. Like I like Tron so much.
Yeah.
Kevin Flynn is kind of flighty, a little manipulative. He's a hacker. But the character Tron is constructed as a security measure to make sure things are in order. And he's like kind of he's Superman. He's like Superman. And it would be fun to see more from Tron, who's the security program. And I feel like in this day and age, with let's say things like elections being tampered with, things being hacked, I would love to see Tron, a Superman like Tron, just trying to stop all this stuff from happening. He's like, because he fights for the users. Yeah. And so he fights for, the people working on these programs to make sure that the security is tight. So it would be cool to see him kind of stretch thin. Maybe, I don't know. This is just all off the top of my head, but explore the character Tron.
Yeah, I agree.
So, whatever it is, I'm gonna see it. If they do an all-female reboot, I'll watch it. If they do, if it's a CG movie as opposed to a live action, like I feel like with the original Tron, it was so ahead of its time with the computer imagery. It was like one of the first movies with like actual computer effects. Let's see where we can take visual effects. I feel like at the time in 2010 with Clue, they did a pretty good job with making Jeff Bridges younger.
For the time, it was really good. Yeah.
Sure. And there's certain shots where it just looks phenomenal. But I would like to bring Tron back when you're ready to really push the medium of filmmaking, whether it's live action, whether it's motion capture, like an Avatar or something. Yeah, do something that pushes it. I feel like the original Tron was so groundbreaking that that it kind of threw people off guard, and that's what I want for a new Tron. I want it to be like, holy crap, what is going on? I think the special effects were great in 2010, but I mean, by that time we've already had like the prequels, and we had, you know, I think Marvel movies had already started by then.
Yeah.
So, you know, it didn't push the boundaries of special effects.
Yeah.
But it was one of the first de-agings that kind of worked.
Yeah.
You know, and then since then, Disney's been pushing that with, you know, Guardians 2 and I think it was Iron Man Civil War, where they younged up.
Yep. Captain America Civil War, but they youngified RDJ.
Yeah. So I feel like if you can just push the limits and get someone there with the artistic vision to just make it look slick, I'm excited. Yeah, and I've like, that's one of the reasons why I'm not keen on Joseph Kosinski coming back to direct. I love him. If he does, that's awesome. But I'd love to see someone else's take on this world.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. But to me, it's like, one, the Daft Punk score is fantastic. Like, I'll just listen to it. Like, it's just one you can just put on, and whether you're just kind of working, you need to focus, or when you're driving or whatever, it's a fantastic soundtrack. And
with 82, Wendy Carlos did that score, and she was using like electronics and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of unique, creating unique sounds. And Daft Punk did it, brought in the orchestra with their signature brand of electronics. That was pretty cool. I would love to see, I mean, I want more Daft Punk music, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But also I would like to see a different composer's take on it. Maybe like Ludwig Göransson, who did The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Like, he brought such a unique twist on Star Wars music, mixing electronics and just bizarre, like sort of like tribal instruments and recorders and stuff. I'd like to see someone like him. He just, you know, like just do, I don't know. Tron's exciting because it could be anything. Exactly.
Yeah. And especially it seems like it's going to be maybe a Disney Plus venture. The possibilities are endless. I do like the was it Ludwig? What's the last name again? I don't know. Göransson. Like, I love that segment of the Mandalorian documentary.
And what's good about him is he did Creed and Creed 2.
Yep.
So he kind of has that Bill Conti gladiator sort of quality to his music, which lends itself to disc battles and light cycle battles and stuff. So I mean, dude, like just I don't care, just make more.
Old school Shinobi says Sean Young in Blade Runner 2049 was still a little bit sketchy, so de-aging effort, but that wasn't a Disney movie. In fairness, it wasn't Disney.
That's what's crazy. Is it seems like Marvel's got it down.
Yeah.
But specifically Marvel, because I didn't really care much for Princess Leia in Rogue One. There was some shots of Tarkin in Rogue One that were just like really good.
Yep.
But I mean, any little subtle thing that's off is just gonna kind of crush it. But Marvel.
What do you think of people using the deep fakes instead? Like, some of them look really good. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah,
it's Stevie sent me one today, and it was like Bill Hader's face on the T1000 and T2, and I'm like, this is just so bizarre looking. Like, like, I don't know why it happens, but for some reason it looks good. But better than some movies. I don't know.
Kind of unrelated, Ross said, Jay, you got to do an updated room tour. My goal is to do one every year as like a New Year's special. So if you haven't seen the one I did in 2019, the end of 2019, check it out on the channel. And you can see everything, what it was in that time. But and then December, end of the year 2020, which I'll be very excited because it's the end of the year 2020, and we will do an updated tour. Already a lot of things that I moved around.
I see that blaster over your left shoulder. And I used to have, that's like one of the few Transformers. Maybe it's your right shoulder blaster, the orange boombox. There he is. I think it's awesome.
They're re-releasing him exclusive to Walmart's if you want to do the hunting there.
All right. Does it come with a cassette?
I think so. They did Soundwave, and Soundwave's my favorite Transformer. And he came with a cassette. And they clearance them. That's how I picked them up. It was like $13. I think originally like $59. Clearance them $13. So I snatched that up, even though I have a vintage one. But the boxes look just like the original boxes, so it's sitting. Yeah. You can't really see it. It's way down there at the bottom, but
that's fine.
Anyway, but yeah, I think regardless of what they do, really excited about the possibilities. I agree with you. It should focus on Tron. Because no Tron movie has focused on Tron. Nobody said Tron 3 Flynn. It'll be Tron 3 : Tron.
Or it'll be called Flynn Lives, and it'll be about Tron.
There you go. Lolo's asked us a few times. Have you heard? Dan Aykroyd said the Ghostbusters. I think, yeah, makes sense.
Everything has potential for anything.
Exactly. And then, especially for studios that are investing. They're really only investing in things that they think can be big franchise, big tent, events that'll bring people to the movie theater. Who knows if that'll be the case post 2020? How many theaters survive what's going on right now? So it's I'm sure it's going to change with the Tom Hanks movie being on Apple TV, and a couple other movies going to streaming services. Or like one's just going straight to rental, like King of Staten Island. So it'll be curious to see how that changes the dynamic of Hollywood, because of the last 10, 15 years, it's been big summer tentpole movies, and the smaller stuff like comedies and dramas have been probably fewer and fewer released in movie theaters. So
I feel like if you're set, if you know that it's going to go straight to rental at home, that you got to make it good.
It's true.
People are sitting on their couches with their phone ready to say anything about that movie.
Yeah, it's true.
So you got to make sure got to make sure stuff's good,
Agreed.
But is it a deal breaker if it's straight to home video if Afterlife comes out? I mean, obviously you're going to watch it, but are you going to be sad that you don't get to see it in theater?
No, I hope it eventually gets to theater, and then I would just watch it then.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think we all, or at least in recent memory or recent history, we all have, not all of us, I guess, but most of us have like a high definition TV and possibly a good speaker, and it gets us probably 80% of the way there, and that's good enough for me in most cases, and there is an aspect of seeing it live, like the Avengers Endgame, and that last action set piece was amazing. Opening night, everybody and you've seen reaction, like people filming it. It was like that in our movie theater. Like every moment of those big moments of the last act, just the whole theater be like, yeah, woo, and like, and just like that. You can't trade that for the world. And we got to experience a really cool events for the last episode of Lost, where 2,000 people you cannot, there's nothing that'll compare to that, like that shared human experience. But that's not most movie-going experiences. So there's things I would like to experience in that way. Afterlife is definitely one of them. But I would assume it'll come to theater eventually anyway. But at the end of the day, safety comes first.
Yeah. And you're watching it regardless, wherever it shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Mariana must have missed the beginning. Has there been news of Tron 3? That was the first section of our show. The rumor, I mean, it's not official, but
they said they're working on it. I feel like it's one of those things where they just throw out the feelers. That's how Tron 2 came about. They gave Joseph Kosinski a decent amount of money to go shoot a short, and they just sprung it on San Diego Comic-Con. and they were like, we'll see how the reaction goes, and the reaction went through the roof, and so they went and made it. So earlier they said that they're planning on working on one. Today they sent out a tweet saying that today's the actual anniversary of the original Tron from 1982. So go over to Disney and their Twitter and like or retweet or do whatever you need to do to show your support for that film, and we'll get another one. But with them building that coaster, they need to make sure people know what it is. So,
but I feel like that one, to me, at least from my perspective, I wouldn't need another movie to get it versus maybe Avatar, which has been so out of our mindset, and they have that amazing world at Disney World that people say, I haven't been, but they say it's like the best thing at Disney World, that Avatar experience. Maybe before all the Star Wars land stuff.
But the thing is, Tron definitely didn't do Avatar numbers.
That's true. That's true.
Like the sequel, Tron Legacy, did all right.
Yeah.
Luckily it did all right. But I don't know what it is. I feel like every once in a while an executive goes in and looks at what properties they have, and they're like, oh, I loved Tron when I was younger. And then the next generation came in, and now we have some sort of new generation, or somebody is wanting to do another one. So make it happen.
I agree. Yeah. Let's see. Mariano asked, Ralph, why does your Green Lantern have a white rectangle head? It's been kind of a story, an underpinning story of Geek Dad Live.
Yeah, I think the last time we recorded, I mentioned that I had ordered the suit for what's going to become my VHS dude puppet. The suit is way too small. I'm just gonna have to make it. I'm just gonna make the suit, but it's going to be how do I do this? There. It is going to be a VHS dude puppet, like a little like rod puppet, so that's what it's going to be. So he's a constant reminder that I need to work on him. But if you go to VHS dude on Twitter, you'll see what that Green Lantern is going to end up looking like. It's like kind of a man in a suit with a VHS for a head. So that's what that is.
Shirts are available in the lobby. Let's see. Shinobi, the younger supporting cast of Tron Legacy could have been much better. I think that hurts some. It was Olivia Wilde. I thought she was.
I thought she was great.
Yeah, and I didn't mind Garrett Hedlund, who played Sam. To me, again, if anything, I do wish Tron had been more present in it. But I like the story. It had a cool feel to it.
Where we left with Tron Legacy was the sort of grid kind of imploded.
Yep.
But Tron was kind of under the ocean water.
Yep.
So there's he's kind of feels like the lone survivor. So it'd be cool to see if he goes rogue from there. And
well, and he was a program that was brought into that world. Like he wasn't created in that world. So it would make sense that he would survive that. He would be like the thing left over once that system was shut down.
Yeah. And Tron's kind of a survivor too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting.
For sure. Okay. Talking about movies that were going to be in theaters that got moved to a streaming service that I was very excited about.
Right.
And was excited to talk to you about it because you said you might watch it before we did this show. And then I see your Instagram post today talking about being on the show. And then you said Tron 3, Hamilton, ugh, in a lip. And
I'm going to tell you the only reason I did that is to get people over here to wonder why I said that to Hamilton.
And then
Hamilton, okay, go ahead.
And then I see another post, somebody complaining about Hamilton. I think it was our friend Axel Foley. And he said, we'll check into the show tonight to hear my thoughts. So now I feel like as I was getting ready for the show, I was like, oh man, now I got to get ready. I got to get ready to argue the case of Hamilton. And so Hamilton dropped July 3rd. And Ralph, I'm guessing you watched it.
I watched it on the 4th of July.
Okay.
Now, here's the, I'll say, so I mean, obviously that was put in there for a reason in that tweet and in the Instagram post. Mostly just to get people over here. I'm like, you kind of have to throw a little bit of, I don't know if it's hate, but you have to put in something there where people are going to be riled up. And people love Hamilton. People love Hamilton. So you tweeted on the 4th. I think it was the 4th. It was either you or Colleen.
It's probably Colleen.
One of you said, "Time for round 2."
Yep.
And I'm like,
Colleen.
Oh shit. Okay.
But it was voted me, and then I think I said you want to go on round 2 or whatever. It was like, can I tweet that or whatever? And I was like, sure.
So I'm like, oh boy. I know you love Hamilton. I absolutely love you. You've seen the play live several times.
Twice. Saw it in the touring company, and then went and saw the residency in Chicago.
Okay, cool. Here's my problem. I don't like theater.
Okay, all right.
I'm not a theater guy. I can't get into theater, and I can't get emotionally attached to plays. I just can't.
Yeah.
We watch Hamilton. I think I liked it more than my wife.
Interesting.
Here's the thing. It's an incredible feat. Like the amount of music put into this thing, and this the thing is not kind of music I'm into, but I mean, no one's going to make a play about film scores. So, but you like, I know a lot of people also listen to the soundtrack before seeing the play. I didn't know a single song from this play before watching it. So I'm like completely blind. I go in and it just starts going and going. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I need to take a break. I'm going to go use the restroom. And we're only like something like 45 minutes in. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much stuff being thrown at you, like lyrically, that it was a little bit overwhelming and a little bit exhausting for me, because I'm also not a big fan of musicals. Just in general, like even movie musicals, there's like a handful, and it's like Sound of Music and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Let me strike that. So it's kind of got 2 strikes against it. But I found the music, I mean, obviously very well written. The funny parts are funny. We watched the whole thing. It's not like we stopped halfway through. I really liked the story. I thought the history was really interesting. The songs are very good. I liked all the performances. Everything about it's good. But as this version of entertainment, like, it's not my thing. I will, however, go see a Hamilton film that's shot like a film and that stuff, and I'll probably enjoy it so much more, especially knowing what I'm getting into, where it's just this onslaught of music just being tossed your way, and the words are coming so fast and furious the whole time that you're like, okay, I'm trying to process it and keep up. I think it benefits for people who know the songs ahead of time. And it's, I understand it's great. It was funny. What's funny is this. So I'm watching it, and one of the songs, one of the songs happened, and something was stuck in my head, and I'm like, what does this song remind me of? What is it? It's like a Disney movie or something. I'm like, what? What is this song? And the whole time I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen Frozen. I've seen Wreck-It Ralph 2. There's some songs in it or whatever. And I tell Steve, I'm like, man, like one of those songs reminded me of like a princess song from a Disney movie. And she's like, yeah, Moana's song. And I'm like, oh, duh. He did the music for Moana. And one of the songs there reminded me of Moana's song that she sings as she's sailing out into the ocean. And then it made me immediately go like, oh, he's really good at writing music.
Yeah.
Like he is really, I love the music in Moana, and we ended up watching Moana like last night.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about you, but I think Mary Poppins Returns is phenomenal.
It is. It really is.
Speaking of sequels that came out way later than the original, like his music is perfect. It feels like it belongs in Mary Poppins. It doesn't feel out of place. It's like pitch perfect. So for me, I'm not a huge fan of ranking things, but it's definitely Mary Poppins, Moana, and then Hamilton. But I mean, I'm not. I didn't hate it. I definitely didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I just know that it didn't. It blew a lot of people's socks off, and I know it blew your socks off. And I feel like I didn't hit that level, so I feel weird not praising it as much as other people have, or maybe I should. But I mean, it just the choreography and the staging with the multiple turntables, and them being able to like navigate that without falling over or hitting their marks. I'm sure it's bad enough for actors to hit their marks in a play, but on a moving set, where they're walking against it as they're walking, like just all of that stuff. It was hard for me to watch because I wanted to see that. I wanted to see where they were standing. I wanted to see where the choreography was going. And I'm trying to pay attention to all the words that are flying at me faster than the Speed Racer movie. It's just like constantly just in your, like, I'm like, oh my gosh. I liked it. I liked it
for sure.
Oh, I didn't even think about doing that.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a good thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an incredible work of art. So it's just in the presented in the way that I don't care for,
and that's fair. Let's see, Ralph. Last one, I tried. Jay, honestly, I tried, but couldn't keep singing. I don't understand what they're saying. Totally get it. Old school streamers that haven't figured out. I like musicals, but now I'm scared. Don't be scared. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, listen. I was able to follow the story. It's just sometimes it's just you're going to get a lot. I don't know how you feel about doing it in sittings for your first time.
Yeah, I think you could do Act 1, take a break, have a dinner party, then go to Act 2. But so when I saw it for the first time, I am not by any means a musical guy. I like musicals. I'm a musician. I love most any type of music, save for modern country. And but Colleen definitely is. She grew up in New York. She, her grandparents took her to Broadway musicals. That was the thing they shared. She, went to, she led her drama department in college and performed and all that kind of stuff. So she is like through and through a Broadway geek. But the only show I had been to before that was Dreamgirls in London. And even that was relatively recently. So I did not know Hamilton at all before I saw it for the first time when it came to Raleigh. Colleen really wanted to go, and she got tickets. I was like, sure, I'll go with you. I heard some of the songs and they sound fun. But it was, I had no expectations. I never, save for Dreamgirls, never like went to a big show like that. And it was just one of those things that I didn't expect to like as much as I did because the hype was just so insane that I almost had the like, it can't be that good. Nothing's that good. But for me, it hit it. It hit all the points. And to your point, I didn't know every song. Oh, and I watched it. I was like, okay, now I need to go listen to the soundtrack because there was a lot I missed because it is like at certain points, some characters speak 6 words a second. Lafayette at some points was 6 words a second, which is a lot.
And another thing about this is that there can't be more than a dozen lines that are just spoken. It's 3 hours, almost 3 hours. I think it's runtime's like 2 hours and 41 minutes or something of singing. There's not really any dialogue that's spoken. There might be a few, but it's just it's a feat.
It is. I do think the rap and spoken word kind of Def Jam poetry kind of thing does allow it to kind of tell the story more. But I will say, watch it with subtitles. That makes a huge difference if it's your first time. My parents are coming over and we're gonna watch it on Saturday. So Jack will be watching. I think he's in the chat there.
Oh, he's probably. I'm sure he's already got his arms folded.
I think he'll like it because he loves history.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes Hamilton kind of it scratches a lot of itches for different people that maybe you're not a Broadway person, but you love history. So it's a very interesting, compelling story for history. It's I say take advantage of the intermission. There's an intermission in it.
Mm-hmm. It's a good place. It's where the play tells you, hey, this is a good sort of time to decompress. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit heady. It's a very heavy moment that happens right before the intermission. You can hang out, take a good, like, I don't know, like 15 minutes, then come back, and then it starts back in with more of a comedic thing to kind of ease you back into the story. But you use that intermission.
Yeah,
I don't know how long intermissions are on Broadway.
15 minutes, usually 15 minutes.
Yeah. Grab a snack, use the restroom.
Exactly. You have to take a pee break, get a drink or something, come back,
massage your temples.
But I fell in love with it just because as a musician I appreciated it, and when I found out that I knew Lin-Manuel was a good lyricist, but I didn't realize he wrote the music too. Like he wrote everything.
It's like all him. Yeah.
Now he has a musical partner that actually did the conducting and the finishing the arrangement, but the music and the words were all him, and the way he used melody and counter melody to actually tell the story, like as he was saying the story, like there's just so many levels to the music that was incredible.
Do you know how long it took him to write it?
6 years, 6.5 years.
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
Yeah,
it's like I said, everything about it's amazing. Unfortunately, it was presented in a way that I'm not into. Like if it was a comic book, if it was a movie. I
will say I enjoyed seeing it live better, and there's just no way you're gonna beat it. I think they did a good job trying to capture it, which is good. But to your point, like when you're watching it live, your eyes go to where they want to go, and you focus on the parts of the entire stage that you want to focus on. And so that's where I found it interesting watching the filmed version, because even there I saw things that I didn't see because the camera's focusing on a certain area. But when I've watched it 2 times, like I've seen different things each time, because your eyes are almost the camera that is like taking it all in and focusing on that turntable, because it is moving constantly and focusing on different things. It is incredible. So Old School Shinobi, I think you're gonna love it. It's fantastic. I do totally get people that maybe aren't into musicals, and it is music the whole time. But I think the story is really strong. And Crazy Hank TV, there is free food available, but I think you'll enjoy it as well, because Crazy Hank TV probably enjoys colonial history even more than I do. And then let's see, can we get a Toxic Avenger the musical on Disney Plus? I don't know. Does
you have the rights to it?
Yeah, Trauma still exists, right? Or
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to always have a booth at Comic-Con, Trauma, didn't they? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I got my Toxic Avenger box set signed, and by Lloyd Kaufman. Forgot about it. And when I did my DVD dump, it ended up at a FYE. So someone out there has a Toxic Avenger box set that says, "Hi, Ralph, we're Toxie the Word Balloon" from Lloyd Kaufman. I'm like, oh my God. It ended up in the box of stuff to throw away. Yeah, I got rid of something like 600 DVDs and like bought an iPad, and I'm like, oh no, my Toxie box went away.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah.
You did that a lot. You would bring DVDs to Comic-Con. I remember there was a few that
I have a bunch. I have Ray Harryhausen Ray Harryhausen, Michael Cera signed my Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm. I remember when you ran into Michael Cera at the movies, right?
Yeah, that picture's somewhere on the internet.
It's one of my.
I need to find that picture and
you do
do a Throwback Thursday.
Yes,
because we made the most awkward faces. It was great.
I think that movie theater is not around anymore either. I don't think. I think it's shut.
Oh, really? We watched something there. I forget what it was, but we were watching. Like, we went to the movies just to go to the movies, and like after that, like Michael Cera was there and Edgar Wright. It might have been the Simpsons movie.
I think you're right.
And like Michael Cera, Edgar Wright, Nick Frost were there.
Mm-hmm.
And we chatted up with them. So
the picture of Michael Cera is just like,
yeah, and I'm doing like, yeah, I gotta find that picture.
But yeah, Hamilton, check it out. You'll like it. Even Ralph, who doesn't like musicals, liked it.
Yeah.
But anyway, other news. Ghostbusters #1 at the box office.
500,000?
Yeah, 500, like 50,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Great. It's cool. It makes me wish. So I grew up in San Diego, East County, San Diego, and we had an amazing drive-in theater, and it's still there, Santee Drive-In. It's one of the few like continually successful drive-in theaters in the modern era. Like I remember I used to, because I'm a nerd, I would go to fan websites, and I was on a message board for a drive-in theater fan website in the late 90s, 2000s, and they said the Santee Drive-In was one of the best drive-ins in the country. But here in Raleigh, North Carolina, we do not have a drive-in. It's like 50 minutes away, and Colleen and I have been debating going to the drive-in just to.
Stevie wanted to buy a house in I forget the city, but it was like 2 hours from you guys. And we're like, oh, that's really? Nothing. Yeah.
Oh, you should have.
Dude, houses are so cheap out there.
I know.
I can't even get a condo over here for the price of like a 2-story house with a huge lawn. It's nuts. And I told her, I said, you're working from home. Not like my job's important. Let's do it. I'll hang out with you. Go play your Tron machine. Wait, you still have the Tron machine, right?
Tron's gone. But I can get another Tron.
All right, never mind. We're not moving.
No, wait. If you move here, I'll get another Tron. That's my commitment to you.
Okay.
Right. But you know what, though? With all the money you're saving on rent, you can have your own Tron because you have the space.
I know. Oh my God, dude. I'll talk to her. Can I work at the ice rink? Is that a thing still?
No, it's gone. It's gone. Colleen says, no, you will not. Listen, Colleen, I'm doing it for Ralph. It's not for me. It's for Ralph.
This is probably not the forum to bring it up, but I'm a little upset with Colleen right now.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
So
let's just air it out. This is a safe place for everyone.
Colleen is a fan of Swedish Fish like I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think about a week or two ago, I tweeted her that I got the new Crush Swedish Fish, which is all like the soda Crush, like orange, pineapple, grape, and strawberry.
Mm-hmm.
And I tweeted at her, I'm like, check these out. They're pretty good.
Yep.
You gotta try them. No, nothing. No response. It's all right.
Gave you
it's all right. Cold shoulder.
She says what?
And then when he said last week we weren't doing a show, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll hold this beef on for another week because I'm just gonna let it hang out there in the middle of the internet.
You have to hold on to a beef that long.
But then I was like, I felt bad because I'm like, oh, I really wanted to try them because they're really good.
But I sent you the Reese's egg pick.
Yeah, I think you tweeted or you what do you call that? Texted me that.
So text doesn't count. That wasn't a response. Okay. All right. Listen, you guys work it out. Okay. Especially if you're going to be living here or close to here. We can't have you guys beefing like that.
Listen, man, if Stevie can be working from home here, I don't see why she can't be working from home there.
Amen. And plus, there's a lot of good jobs out here. It's a good job market. Great.
Oh, I don't want a good job.
You want a job with a lot of people not wearing masks or whatever, downtown.
Is there any jobs for like professional Tron players? I'll do that.
It was have to make your own channel, and it's just a 24-hour video feed of you playing Tron, and then we'll get sponsors for it.
It's great. She's sending me text messages. No, Colleen, I know you didn't see it. That's what I'm talking about. She said I didn't see it. Yeah.
It's interesting that Kirby Enthusiasm where when Larry and Jeff's wife argue. That's a show I need to watch. I haven't seen that one.
Someone asked earlier, Lola Pap asked if we had seen Mask of the Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it when it came out, and that's it. I haven't seen it since.
Same here. I remember it being good back then. I mean, me, the Batman animated series was just premium.
Yeah, and I remember renting it and being like, "Oh, this is like the animated series, but the animation is like on a much higher level."
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember it being more detailed and overall, I thought it was awesome. I haven't seen it in a while. I should check it out.
It's or at least I haven't. Yeah, I should see that again. And also, I have so many memories of Batman the animated series and like. Because it used to air at like 5 o'clock on Fox, and I just remember like every episode was just so freaking good. So
right.
Garage Gamer down with it today, but I fell asleep. But listen, guys, it's a really great show. I'm starting to get worried about the audience here. But would you like? Of course, Ecto 1. I don't know if they'll do it. Hasbro's kind of averse to big plastic vehicles, but I don't. Maybe if the series does well enough.
Hey, number one movie. I mean, the demand is there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Ecto Cooler.
Hey, if Ecto Cooler
really good right now.
I got one over here somewhere. But anything to bring Ecto Cooler back. Strike asks, what's your favorite movie? I think we've talked about it before. What's your number one, Ralph?
Star Wars, 1977.
And mine is Ghostbusters, 1984.
Yeah, it's a lot of people like Empire more than Star Wars. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge Luke Skywalker fan. I like good guys versus bad guys, and I like the good guys. And Star Wars is like just that. It's like the rebellion wins. It's like right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Agreed. Batman the Animated Series is.
Hear any updates on the Willow Disney Plus series?
All right, now you're talking my language. I love Willow. Willow is amazing. Maybe about a year ago now, I took a drive to Los Angeles to the Arrow Theater where I have friends that work there. Mm-hmm. Found out they had a Willow screening. They had a 70mm print of Willow.
Wow.
With the director, Ron Howard, presenting it and doing a Q&A after.
What?
I took my friend Jocelyn, who's also a huge Willow fan. My wife is not the biggest Willow fan, which is fine. But she's like, take Jocelyn. I'm like, she's going to love it. So we go and we're sitting there. And as we're sitting there waiting for the movie to start, you just kind of look off to the corner and you just see Ron Howard standing there, like waiting to go up. Yeah. And I'm like, I like nudge Jocelyn. I'm like, look, he's right there. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's so weird. Cause I mean, Ron Howard's been around our whole lives.
Yep.
Whether it's Opie or Richie Cunningham or him as the director. And so it's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So we see him grab the microphone and walk up. And as soon as he holds up the microphone, it's like my brain just like turned to mush because it's like Arrested Development.
Yes.
And I'm like, his voice is so like ingrained in my brain through my entire life that I was just like, I can't believe I'm in the same room with the guy who directed Night Shift and Splash and Apollo 13 and Willow and like all these movies. See Night Shift. I've mentioned it before on the show. Go watch Night Shift.
If you didn't do it, gotta do it.
Yeah. But I was like, oh my God. So when they did a Q&A, and there, of course, God, there's always someone at the Q&A. Hey, I wrote a spec script for Willow 2. Would you want to take a look at it? And everyone went, ugh, and it was like, bleh, and people were all groaning and moaning. And he said, but his response was, I'm sure it's great, but I've already got something I'm working on with Willow.
Yeah.
And everyone went, what? And then I think it was like a month later, they announced they were going to do the series. Take your time. Do it right. I can't even wait. If it's anything like the Dark Crystal series and how they were able to like what they did with the Dark Crystal series was like
incredible.
It heightened the movie. It made the movie better. And it fits so perfectly. So if they can do something like that with the Willow series, take that idea, what they did with Dark Crystal, and put that into Willow. It's going to be amazing. Man.
Yeah. You're 100% right. Yeah. There's just a lot of potential there, especially at being a Disney Plus series, especially what they've been able to do with the volume with Mandalorian. Like, just the possibilities are endless. Absolutely.
Yeah, shoot everything in the volume. Just keep going. You don't have to go. You don't have to spend all kinds of money. And then with the coronavirus, like, you can have that all in the controlled area.
It's true. Yep.
Oh man.
All music fan. Hopefully the new Ghostbusters movie will hit #1 at the box office, which would help the toy products up. That is very true. Like, modern toy selling, it really, like, getting the best stuff is usually if there's a movie that they're trying to support. And that's how we got all this great Ghostbuster stuff this year, is them trying to support a movie. Without that, you would not have the Plasma series, the re-release Kenner figures, a lot of that. And even you wouldn't have some of these awesome Masters of the Universe figures that Mattel is making. And these things are so freaking cool. I can't wait to review them on the channel. And then the Skeletor is just so much fun. Like,
did they make a Stratos? Stratos was always my favorite.
Not yet, but I'm sure he will come soon. These are the only two that have sold so far, and then a Prince Adam set. But gosh, these things are really cool. Really, really cool. But yeah, no, I think hopefully it does well, and then that's the more stuff that we'll get because of it. And I want to go back. I think old school Shinobi said Raiders of the Lost Ark is his #1. I mean, it's a great movie. It's a fantastic film.
First score I ever owned.
And it's a good score.
Sitting in this drawer back here. The tape, the cassette. Yeah, it's hard to do the.
Now I gotta think of my first score I ever owned.
The first soundtrack I ever owned, the first CD I ever owned, was Back to the Future.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
My first CD was Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2 was my first CD.
I had Ghostbusters on tape.
My first tape was Ghostbusters. My first VHS was Ghostbusters. My first record was Ghostbusters. And my first DVD was Ghostbusters. And my first Blu-ray was Ghostbusters. It's kind of my tradition. Any new medium, I try to make sure Ghostbusters is the first thing I get.
Digital download?
No, it definitely wasn't digital download. I think it was like an Office episode or something like that, because that was like one of the first things you can get on an iPod video.
Yeah, mine was like an episode of Lost that I needed to pull sound for.
Same, yeah.
Oh, I think it was The Constant. I think I still own The Constant on iTunes.
It's still there. I forgot about buying Lost episodes as well.
Yeah.
Man, it's all music. Jay, you are the Ghostbusters man. I'm not wrong. You're not wrong. Again, as you can see, I like a lot of things. Ghostbusters is my favorite, but I love a lot of things. But it has been a Ghostbuster heavy year so far. But again, these He-Man figures, they pose really well. They're just so.
I don't have much to show. I have a lot to show off, but not really anything. I just got this week. If you want to do show and tell, I ordered this in like November, but It's my Alan Scott Funko Pop.
Ooh,
He's
nice.
the original
I love
Green Lantern.
Scott Green Lantern.
And it's his 80th birthday this year, and that's the original Alan Scott. I got one sitting on the shelf as well in a box. But yeah.
Now, this one was on a recent toy hunting episode. It's called Battle Beasts, or not Battle. Battle Tribes, but it's in a Tron deck.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got the Flynn sort of shawl.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they're really cool. It's this Glyos system where you get a whole bunch of different parts, like different heads and hands and stuff like that, and then you can kind of switch out. You know, you can kind of take apart the pieces and then put them and kind of build your preferred.
Like the Hordax.
I got a little dude head. Anyway, it's a neat, fun little toy system. But a friend of mine gave me that. But anyway, let's see. Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe animated series is on its way. I'm excited. Oh, yeah. I think it looks a lot of fun. I really dug the She-Ra, the new She-Ra on Netflix. I hope it's kind of in the same universe because the He-Man one is on Netflix as well. So I do hope they kind of share a universe. But Scott D says, you see the new Hot Wheels He-Man vehicle and Thunder Tank. If this is in regards to the Sky Sled or Jet Sled, I think Pixel Dan just did a video about it. I hope I can find one. It looks really cool. I have a really big vintage collection, so that's why I really am excited about this line. As you can see, I have an Eternia playset. I have all the playsets, almost all the figures, and there's an original Eternia poster. So yeah, I love me some He-Mans. Wind Raider. Oh yes, the Hot Wheels. Yes, I see people find them. I have not found in the wild yet. I really want to find the Hot Wheels one for sure, 100%. But for those that subscribe to the channel, be on the lookout. I'll probably get to He-Man next week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be filming and editing a video for the NECA Casey Jones and Raphael figure that'll probably drop Saturday night. And I'll also be I've been liking these toy hunting videos I've been doing, so I may be doing those Mondays. Those will drop Monday nights, and so I'll be doing some toy hunting this weekend. That'll be a part of that as well. And yeah, Superpowers. I freaking love Superpowers. I have every figure from the Superpowers line. Again, if you want to see my collection, I did a full kind of tour in December of 2019. So definitely check that out if you want to see all of what is in this room, my office / studio / toy room. What's that?
Toy room.
Toy room, yes. Yeah, I have not seen it. I've seen people find. I have not. I literally have a Target across the street. I have not seen it. But anyway, all right. Well, I think we are at time or over time. Ralph, as always, enjoy hanging out with you.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm excited for what news comes up next week.
Exactly. We will be here next Thursday at 9:00. We will share the week in Geek and close out the show as always with Q&A with everybody in the chat. Thank you, everyone, to that was here this week that gave feedback. Let's see, old school. Show me. Yes, I love the Kenner Swamp Thing line. Freaking love that line. I have the figures. I had a whole bunch of mock figures. But I did sell those to buy something else. But anyways, love everything Kenner. I'm a Kenner stan through and through, no doubt. All right. We'll see you all next week on Geek Dad Live, and there'll be more videos on Geek Dad Live. So make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and click on that bell icon to be notified when the latest episode of Geek Dad Life drops. And where did you find Raph and Jones? There it is. I will see you on Saturday night for that Raphael and Casey Jones set. And until then, hasta luego. And good. Woo! Fireball. Oh, we talk about that one week.